Not every relationship scandal ends with a breakup, and not every comeback story looks the way people expect. Months after one of the most talked about chapters in her marriage, Katie is once again filling her social media feed with smiling selfies, tight embraces, and moments that suggest life is moving forward. Recent photos featuring Travis front and center have caught plenty of attention, not because they reveal anything dramatic, but because they seem determined to show a couple that is still standing together. While Katie hasn't publicly revisited the controversy, a Reddit discussion built around those images quickly turned into a much bigger conversation about trust, forgiveness, and whether online appearances can ever tell the full story. The post that sparked the debate focused on several recent photos of Katie and Travis looking closer than ever. In one image, Travis kisses Katie on the cheek while she smiles with her eyes closed. In another, the couple shares an emotional embrace during a move, while additional photos highlight playful, affectionate moments between them. For many followers, the pictures looked like an obvious attempt to document a fresh chapter. They showed a couple settling into a new environment, creating new memories, and presenting a united front after a difficult period. But on Reddit, viewers immediately began reading between the lines. What stood out to commenters wasn't necessarily what the photos showed, it was what they seemed to represent. The thread was titled around Katie's life after the affair, instantly framing the images through the lens of everything that happened before. That framing shaped nearly every response that followed. Instead of discussing photography, moving, or even the couple's new surroundings, commenters focused on one question: why does Katie appear so eager to showcase her relationship now? The original post referenced some of Katie's own past statements, noting that she had previously spoken about wanting to protect her marriage and make future decisions slowly and carefully. The poster also pointed out how frequently Travis now appears in her content, suggesting a noticeable shift in how she presents her relationship online. From there, the discussion exploded into hundreds of interpretations, theories, and opinions. One of the most common reactions came from people who simply didn't believe the relationship could have healed as quickly as the photos seemed to suggest. Many commenters argued that trust takes far longer to rebuild than a few months, especially after such a public betrayal. Several users claimed that the affectionate content felt less like evidence of recovery and more like an attempt to project stability. Whether fair or unfair, a significant portion of the discussion revolved around the belief that the pictures were telling a story that viewers weren't entirely convinced by. That skepticism became even more pronounced when commenters started discussing what they saw as a dramatic increase in Travis's affection. Numerous Reddit users described the recent content as an example of what they called love bombing, a term often used to describe intense displays of affection following conflict or relationship damage. According to those commenters, Travis's visible devotion now may feel reassuring to Katie in the short term, but they questioned whether it reflects lasting change. Again, these were opinions shared by Reddit users rather than established facts, but they quickly became one of the dominant narratives throughout the thread. Others focused less on Travis and more on Katie herself. Several commenters suggested that the photos seemed directed as much toward Katie as they were toward her audience. In their view, the images felt like visual reassurance, a way of reinforcing the idea that everything is okay, even if healing remains a work in progress. Some argued that after experiencing public embarrassment and heartbreak, it would be natural for someone to cling tightly to signs that their relationship has survived. The couple's recent move added another layer to the conversation. Katie has left behind familiar surroundings and entered a completely new stage of life, something that many viewers initially celebrated as an exciting opportunity. Yet Reddit users viewed the timing through a much more analytical lens. A recurring theory suggested that moving away from established support systems while simultaneously repairing a damaged marriage could create an unusually intense dependence on a spouse. Several commenters wondered whether that dynamic might make it harder for Katie to evaluate the relationship objectively, though others pushed back and argued that such assumptions go far beyond anything visible online. One particularly active section of the discussion focused on Katie's upbringing and how it may influence the choices she makes today. Some users speculated that her background could contribute to her willingness to forgive and remain committed to the marriage. Others argued that she is simply making the decision she believes is best for herself and her family. While opinions vary dramatically, the underlying theme remained the same. Many viewers are trying to understand not just what Katie is doing, but why she is doing it. Interestingly, not all criticism was directed at Travis. Some commenters questioned Katie's own social media strategy, arguing that repeatedly posting romantic content so soon after the controversy inevitably invites scrutiny. They felt that viewers who followed the story are naturally going to compare current behavior with previous statements. Others countered that Katie shouldn't have to hide her marriage forever simply because people are uncomfortable with her decision to stay. A smaller but notable group of commenters also challenged the entire premise of the discussion. They pointed out that social media has always been a curated space, and that outsiders rarely have access to the conversations, therapy, conflicts, and compromises happening behind closed doors. From that perspective, trying to diagnose the health of a marriage based on Instagram photos is an impossible task. These users acknowledged that skepticism is understandable, but argued that nobody online truly knows what their day-to-day reality looks like. What makes this conversation particularly fascinating is that it has evolved beyond the affair itself. Very few commenters spent time debating what happened in the past. Instead, the focus shifted toward the future. The real discussion wasn't about the betrayal, it was about the recovery. Can trust genuinely return? Can a marriage survive something like this? How much of healing should be visible to the public? Those questions drove far more engagement than the original controversy ever could. In many ways, Katie's latest photos have become a Rorschach test for her audience. Supporters see a couple rebuilding, critics see a carefully curated image, skeptics see unresolved issues hidden behind smiling selfies. And somewhere between those perspectives is the reality that only Katie and Travis actually know. Yet the sheer intensity of the Reddit reaction proves that the story is far from over in the minds of viewers. Every new post, every affectionate photo, and every glimpse into their life together continues to fuel a debate that has become less about what happened and more about whether people believe what they're seeing now.